Today is such an off day. What's up, y'all? It's Rachel Elizabeth, and you're watching Real Talk with Rach. Today is not the day I normally make these videos, but it's necessary because tomorrow I'm shooting a commercial for a major airline, and I am like, we could have an entire video on the gratitude I have for that and God's faithfulness and the story that led up to the fact that I am so overwhelmed with that blessing and I don't even really know how to process it. But that's tomorrow and it will take all day, and that's normally the day that I take to film and edit, so I just have to work with what I have. So I have been thinking a lot about what I wanted to share with you guys today, and the only thing that keeps coming up is body image. And I wanted to tell you guys that because this commercial I'm shooting, the role I booked is a sprinter. And when I went in for the fitting, they put me in a sprinter's outfit, which, if you are familiar at all with athletics and track and field sports, you know that that's very little clothing. We have a sports bra, maybe a compression t-shirt or tank top at most, and either briefs or shorts, and typically it's gonna be the briefs. And they put me in these briefs and this sports bra, different colors. That's how fittings work. You just see what's gonna look best together with the other talent, so they know what you're gonna be wearing for the shoot. So they put me in this outfit, and I'm thinking to myself, how on earth am I here? I mean, I take care of myself, I'm healthy, I'm fit, but I'm nothing compared to the 3 other professional sprinters that they hired for this job. And I'm sitting there thinking this, and I catch myself having conflicting thoughts with that question and this piece where I just know that I'm here for a reason, and I was chosen for this job for a reason that I might not even know, but I know it was God. I know that He's allowing this favor in my life right now, and that just, I am so grateful for that it makes me emotional. So I'm just a little overwhelmed with that. But even more than that opportunity, this piece made me realize that God has brought me so far, because my entire life has been this string of events in my childhood and my adult life that have challenged my identity and my value and have made me really, really insecure at times. And I just want you guys to know that I know that what I put out on social media and even these videos may come off as this confident girl who's had it all together for forever, but that couldn't be further from the truth, because the confidence I have now is only because of what God has done in my life and my heart, and how He's changed my perspective. I want to talk about body image because that's something I struggled with for a long time, and I still struggle with it sometimes, but it's amazing to see the progress. The first time I remember having any issues with my body image was 5th grade, and this is a little embarrassing, but you know, we all go through it. So my friends are just starting to hit puberty, and this is 5th grade, and there are no boobs in sight. I am a late bloomer, and I noticed that my crush at the time really was paying a lot of attention to the girls who were not late bloomers. And I hate that word, bloomers, by the way, but I just started putting my identity, my value in 3 B words early in my life, and that was beauty, boys, and boobs. And I didn't have those things, so I questioned my value. Fast forward to the next year, and it was hair. This beautiful Latina girl sitting in front of me in class in San Antonio had this waterfall black hair, thick, long, beautiful. Every time she moved her hand through it, it would just fall into this, it looked like a waterfall. I can't explain it any other way, but I was so jealous of her hair, and all the guys liked her. I was convinced that it had to be because of that hair. And at the time, my hair was about this short, and it was straight and thick and poofy and just kind of felt like a triangle on my head. And I was also just beginning to go through puberty, so my hair actually started to get wavy. I didn't know what to do with it. Eventually, you know, I'll get to this point and be okay with it. I actually prefer my curly hair, but I didn't know what to do with it at the time. Fast forward again, more years. Now it is high school and I am doing everything in my power to look the part, act the part, talk the part so that everyone would like me. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be popular. I wanted everyone to like me. So I had this weight on me to make everyone like me at whatever the cost. And it hurt a lot of people in my life, including my little sister. And I'm sorry for that, but that was my own insecurity. And then fast forward again, college just made it worse because then, you know, you add drinking and sororities and parties and social events and classes that you're trying, it's just so much competition. And in the midst of that, the turning point of my story happened in college, and when I experienced sexual abuse, everything was turned on its head and I lost all sense of my own value, and that put me into fitness. And you can see that story in my story, which I'll link up here if you haven't seen it already. That'll explain this more, but after that, fitness made me feel a little bit better, a lot better than I had in the past. And then somebody invited me to start competing, and I thought that competing would be the next thing. And so I started competing and got 3rd place in my first figure show. And I have another video about that. You can watch that here, why I quit 5 years of bodybuilding. But that'll explain more too. But the point here is when I got into competing, 3rd place wasn't good enough. I had to get first, and then I threw myself into this competing world and kept pushing myself, and as great as the stage felt, as awesome as that self-discipline was, and I highly recommend trying something like that, some sport, some getting to some goal like that, just for the experience of pushing yourself through that discipline. It did have negative effects too, because when I was done competing, when I was off stage between shows, I felt miserable in my skin. I felt fat, I felt ugly, I felt like I wasn't worth anything. I felt like I had to stay stage lean all the time, which gave me body image issues there. Eating disorders. I was basically exercise bulimic, which means I was really controlling over my food and my portions, and I was exercising because I felt like I needed to. I never got to the point where I was doing too much cardio in that respect, but it was all for vanity and not for other people at that point, but just because I felt like my worth was tied to that. And I mean, this all just added to this weight. And I just, oh my gosh, you guys, if you ever thought that I never struggled with body image, first of all, that's a major lie, but there's this image that I shot with one of my favorite photographers, Lee from LHTFX Photography. And it is this beautiful image that I shot in a bikini on a beach in this awesome pose, and it was so much fun. But as much fun as that shoot was, I remember the first thought on my mind when I saw that picture after it had been shot, and the photographer was, Lee was super excited about it. He's like, oh my gosh, this is a great image. And he knows, he's a photographer, he's a professional. I looked at this image and the first thought on my mind was not, wow, that's a beautiful image. It was, is that cellulite on my leg? Oh my gosh. I was the leanest that I had been in so long. I was right before a fitness competition. I was about to get on stage, and I thought that the striation in my hamstring was cellulite. I mean, come on, that is not normal. And I'm just telling you these things not to feel sorry for me, not to just talk more about myself, but so that you know that I know what that feels like. It's real. It happens to everyone. And the only thing that is going to change your self-image is understanding whose image you're made in. And you're made in the image of God. And if you don't believe that, you're going to continue to seek out something to put your identity in that is a false representation of God. It's something that is completely off. And this is where the term or the philosophy of relativism comes into play, because if you don't have an absolute truth as an anchor for what you are basing your belief system on, then you are constantly going to be tossed around like a ship on the ocean without an anchor in the middle of a storm. And you're never going to know what is true or what is a lie. And you're going to be so easily swayed by people's opinions and perceptions of you and the media and what the world has to say about you. But when you know that absolute truth is absolute love and acceptance, and that God is that absolute truth and absolute love and absolute acceptance, and he loves you just the way you are and made you just the way you are because he has specific, beautiful, unique, set apart purpose for you just as you are that no one else in the world in any time of history could have ever fulfilled, because you were made for that purpose and no one else was. Your features, what your hair looks like, what your skin looks like, what your family looks like, what your body looks like, all of these things, while they can and should be taken care of through health and fitness and preventative health care, that should not be what defines you. Your definition should come from your creator, and your creator loves you. Your creator made you, created you wonderfully, fearfully, and it is because he is so good that you can trust him. It is because he is so beautiful that you can see yourself as beautiful. So I hope that that is encouraging today. I have so much more to talk about, so I'm just gonna stop there before I get too crazy in this video, but I just want you to know that you are loved and you have such an amazing purpose that if you looked like anybody else, you would not be able to fulfill that purpose the same way. If you spoke a different way, if you had a flawless body, which nobody does, you wouldn't be able to fulfill that purpose. So if you want to know what you're here for, go to your creator. He knows, nobody else knows. You can't get that information from anybody else. They didn't make you. So go to your creator, find out more about him, and you're gonna find out more about how beautiful and how purposeful your life is. This is Rachel Elizabeth with Real Talk with Rach and causefitness.com. You are loved, you are made for purpose, and you're incredibly valuable. I'll see you next week. If you like what you saw here, please give me a thumbs up and check out my Patreon campaign. Cause Fitness is on Patreon. I'll put the link up here. You guys can check that out and be part of the fam. I would love to have you. And yeah, that's it. I will see you next week. Bye. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, tell me one thing about this video that really made you stop and think about your life, about your philosophies, about your worldview, about your idea of God, any of those things, or come up with your own. But tell me something, one of your thoughts in the comments below.